The story of the Black Seminoles is a story of resistance and survival. It is a tale that spans centuries and showcases the indomitable spirit of a people who refuse to be subjugated. Their journey is one of courage, resilience, and an unyielding quest for freedom. It begins in the 17th century, a time when the world was vastly different from what we know today. The southern colonies were expanding, and with them, the brutal institution of slavery. At that time, enslaved Africans escaped from plantations in the southern colonies. These brave souls risked everything, fleeing under the cover of night, navigating treacherous terrain, and evading relentless pursuers. They sought refuge in Spanish Florida, a land that promised a glimmer of hope. Unlike the English colonies, Spanish Florida offered a sanctuary, a place where the chains of slavery could be broken. Florida was a haven for those fleeing slavery. The Spanish authorities, eager to undermine the English, offered freedom to those who could make it to their territory. It was during this journey that many escaped Africans found their way to the Seminole people. The Seminoles, themselves a diverse group, were composed of various Native American tribes who had come together in Florida. Among them were remnants of indigenous black tribes like the Yamasee, who had once fought their own great war with European colonists. Family traveler William Bartram stated about the Yamasee that their women were known for their beauty, and referred to as the daughters of the sun due to their dark skin complexion. All in all, it was these indigenous tribes who welcomed the Africans with open arms, recognizing the shared struggle against oppression and the potential for mutual benefit. The Seminoles saw the Africans as valuable allies. Together, they could resist the encroaching threats from colonial powers and slave catchers. They offered them protection and a place in their communities. This was not just an act of charity, but a strategic alliance that would strengthen both groups. This alliance between the Seminoles and the Africans grew stronger over time. They shared resources, knowledge, and a common goal of freedom. They forged deep bonds of kinship and shared experiences. These bonds were not just political, but deeply personal, rooted in mutual respect and shared hardship. They intermarried and created a new culture. This blending of traditions and bloodlines gave rise to a unique community. This culture blended African and Seminole traditions. It was a rich tapestry of customs, languages, and beliefs, creating a vibrant and resilient society. This unique group became known as the Black Seminoles. They were a testament to the power of unity and the human spirit's capacity to adapt and thrive. They adapted to life in the Florida swamps and forests. These environments, though harsh, provided a natural fortress against their enemies. They became skilled hunters, fishermen, and warriors. Their knowledge of the land and survival skills were unparalleled, making them formidable opponents. The Black Seminoles were fiercely independent. They valued their autonomy and were determined to maintain it at all costs. They were determined to protect their newfound freedom. This determination would lead them to fight valiantly in the Seminole Wars, resisting removal and oppression with every ounce of their strength. But before we get into the rest of this video, we want to take a quick second to tell you about our special limited-time offer. We are giving away free copies of our newest critically acclaimed book, 13 Black Scholars Who Admitted There Were Black People in the Americas Before Columbus. This exclusive offer is our way of saying thank you for your incredible support and sticking with us on our knowledge-filled journey into true ancient American history. Dive deep into history with us and uncover truths that challenge what we've been taught. But hurry, this offer won't last forever. Click the link in the description and grab your free copy. Now, let's get back to the video. The Black Seminoles were not simply absorbed into Seminole society. They retained many aspects of their black culture and heritage. This included their languages, music, and religious beliefs. This fusion of cultures created a vibrant and distinct Black Seminole identity. Within Seminole communities, Black Seminoles held positions of leadership and influence. They served as advisors, interpreters, and warriors. Their knowledge of European languages and customs proved invaluable to the Seminoles. This integration was not without its complexities. The Seminoles, like many Native American societies, had their own social structures and hierarchies. However, the relationship between the Black Seminoles and the Seminole Nation was one of mutual respect and interdependence. They relied on each other for survival and defense against a common enemy, the United States. The Black Seminoles played a crucial role in shaping Seminole culture. They introduced new agricultural techniques and crafts. They also enriched Seminole music and storytelling with their African heritage. The Black Seminoles became an integral part of the Seminole Nation. As the United States expanded southward, it set its sights on Florida. This expansion was driven by a combination of ambition and necessity. The young nation was eager to grow its territory and influence, and Florida, with its strategic position and fertile lands, was an attractive target. The U.S. government coveted Florida's fertile land and strategic location. The region promised rich agricultural opportunities and a crucial foothold for trade and military advantage. The lush landscapes and abundant resources made it a prize worth pursuing. The presence of runaway slaves in Florida further fueled the desire for conquest. These individuals sought freedom and refuge among the Seminoles, creating a haven that the U.S. government viewed as a threat to its authority and the institution of slavery. Tensions between the Seminoles, including the Black Seminoles and American settlers, escalated. The settlers, driven by expansionist desires and racial prejudices, clashed with the Seminoles, who were determined to protect their land and people. Slaves from Georgia and South Carolina continued to seek refuge among the Seminoles. This influx of runaways not only strained resources, but also heightened the stakes of the conflict, as the U.S. government saw the Seminoles' defiance as a direct challenge to its laws and sovereignty. The U.S. government demanded the return of these runaways. The Seminoles refused. Their refusal was not just an act of defiance, but a statement of their autonomy and commitment to protecting those who sought their help. This determination was rooted in a deep sense of justice and solidarity, as the Seminoles and their Black allies stood united against external threats. As a result, in 1817, the United States Army invaded Spanish Florida. This bold move was intended to assert control and suppress the Seminole resistance, marking a significant escalation in the conflict. This incursion, known as the First Seminole War, marked the beginning of decades of conflict. The war was characterized by brutal battles, strategic maneuvers, and a relentless struggle for dominance. The Seminoles, including their Black allies, fought fiercely to defend their land and their way of life. Their resistance was a testament to their resilience and determination to preserve their culture and autonomy. The First Seminole War ended in 1819 with the Treaty of Moultrie Creek. This treaty was a temporary resolution, forcing the Seminoles to make significant concessions. This treaty forced the Seminoles to cede much of their land in exchange for a reservation in central Florida. The loss of their ancestral lands was a heavy blow, but the Seminoles continued to resist and adapt. However, the treaty was poorly enforced, and encroachment by white settlers continued. This ongoing encroachment led to further conflicts and set the stage for future wars as the Seminoles' struggle for survival and sovereignty persisted. By the 1830s, tensions between the Seminoles and the U.S. government reached a boiling point. The Seminoles, a proud and resilient people, had long resisted the encroachment of settlers on their lands. Their resistance was not just a matter of pride, but of survival, as their way of life was deeply intertwined with the land they inhabited. The Indian Removal Act of 1830 called for the relocation of all Native American tribes east of the Mississippi River to lands west of the Mississippi. This act, signed into law by President Andrew Jackson, was seen as a solution to the Indian problem by many in the government. However, for the Native American tribes, it was a devastating blow, uprooting them from their ancestral homelands and forcing them into unfamiliar territories. The Seminoles, including the Black Seminoles, refused to leave their ancestral homelands. In 1835, Major General Edmund Pendleton Gaines, commander of U.S. forces in Florida, ordered Major Francis Dade to lead a column of soldiers from Fort Brooke, present-day Tampa, to Fort King, near present-day Ocala. This mission was seen as crucial to maintaining control over the region and suppressing the growing resistance of the Seminoles. Dade's mission was to reinforce Fort King and subdue the increasingly resistant Seminole. The U.S. government believed that a show of military strength would be enough to intimidate the Seminoles into submission. However, they underestimated the resolve and strategic acumen of their adversary. Dade's column, consisting of 110 men, set out on December 23, 1835. The soldiers, clad in their uniforms and carrying their weapons, marched through the dense Florida scrub. The terrain was challenging, with thick vegetation and swamps making progress slow and arduous. They marched through the dense Florida scrub, unaware of the danger that lay ahead. The soldiers were confident in their mission, believing that their superior numbers and firepower would ensure their success. Little did they know, the Seminoles were watching their every move, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The Seminoles, under the leadership of Chiefs Osceola, Jumper, and McCanopy, had been carefully monitoring Dade's movement. These leaders were not only skilled warriors, but also astute strategists, understanding the importance of choosing the right moment and location for their attack. The Seminoles' strategy, masterminded by Osceola, was to ambush Dade's column. Osceola, a charismatic and fearless leader, had rallied his people to the cause, inspiring them with his vision of resistance and freedom. His plan was to use the element of surprise to their advantage, striking the soldiers when they least expected it. They chose a location along the route where the terrain favored their fighting style. The dense vegetation and uneven ground would make it difficult for the soldiers to maneuver and respond effectively. The Seminoles, familiar with the land, could use it to their advantage, launching swift and devastating attacks. This spot, near present-day Bushnell, Florida, would become the site of one of the most significant battles in the Second Seminole War. The events that unfolded here would not only shape the course of the war, but also leave a lasting legacy on the history of the region. The bravery and determination of the Seminoles in this battle would be remembered for generations to come, a testament to their unyielding spirit and fight for their homeland. On December 28, 1835, as Dade's column marched through a dense hammock of trees and palmetto scrub, the Seminoles launched their attack. The Seminoles, concealed in the thick undergrowth, opened fire with devastating accuracy. The element of surprise was complete. Dade's soldiers, caught off guard, were mowed down by a hail of bullets. Dade himself was one of the first to fall, shot dead early in the engagement. The Seminoles' skilled warriors who knew the terrain intimately used guerrilla tactics to their advantage. The soldiers, trained for conventional warfare on open battlefields, were ill-prepared for this type of fighting. They struggled to return fire, their muskets ineffective against the Seminoles' concealed positions. The battle raged for hours, a desperate struggle for survival against overwhelming odds. By the time the fighting subsided, Dade's entire column lay dead, except for 3 survivors who managed to escape the carnage. The Seminoles, having achieved a decisive victory, melted back into the swamps, leaving behind a scene of unimaginable horror, horrors that would shake white Americans to their core for the next several months to come. After General Dade got put in the dirt, many large plantations were burnt and settlers killed. By the end of 1836, all but one house in what is now Miami was left standing. The terror of the Black Seminoles rained down on Florida, eventually forced the United States government to reach an agreement that would relocate the Black Seminoles out of Florida without the possibility of enslavement, making them one of the first groups in American history to successfully free themselves through violent resistance. Dade's name would go on to be remembered through what is now Dade County, the official county that seats the city of Miami. Yet it is a must we never forget how his name got there, and the black warriors who made it possible. Trust us when we say, this journey through America's hidden black past is just beginning. If this glimpse into a world lost to time has captured your imagination, smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more adventures into the unknown. Lastly, for more information about the names and subjects mentioned in this video, get your copy of the Amazon best-selling book series, 19 White Men Who Admitted There Were Indigenous Black People in the Americas, and 13 Black Scholars Who Admitted There Were Black People in the Americas Before Columbus, by Chase McGee. Link in the description. Stay curious and keep exploring.